What's up, everyone? It's Brian here from Exact IT Solutions Cybersecurity, and I'm here today to bring you some information about World Password Day 2021. Today is May 6th, 2021, and today is known in the tech world as World Password Day, and today is the 2021 version. So we're going to talk about some things that are going to help you understand what World Password Day is, and number two, what you can do or what you're supposed to do on this day to make yourself more secure. So if you don't know that more than 80% of breaches are caused by password disasters, a huge part of keeping your important information and sensitive files and safe is making good, strong passwords and reinforcing them with powerful security tools to protect them from hackers. But when many folks think about improving password security, they're thinking of adding like a character to their password, like a capital letter, a number, or maybe even they'll go as far as using a punctuation like an asterisk or an exclamation point. In 2020, there was a study that 42% of respondents said their organization had been compromised because of a bad or stolen or cracked password. So what can you do to protect your password, not only from maybe your company getting hacked, but you getting hacked personally? I reached out to somebody today and let them know that we found their password on the dark web because there was just a slew of website password dumps in the dark web recently because a bunch of websites have been hacked. One of the things that they said to me was, I haven't used this website in years. And that's what happens. Like, you use a password on a site years ago and you maybe forget that you did that, or you forget that you signed up for that website and used that password. And you're like, oh, I don't use that password, or I've never used that password before, but you used it 5 years ago on this website that just got hacked. And now your password's out there. So I'm going to give you some tips here really quickly at the end of the day here on World Password Day 2021. It's going to help you make sure that your passwords don't end up leading you to get hacked. So here we go. Don't handle and store passwords unsafely, right? So don't write them down. Don't put them on a sticky note. Don't leave them under your keyboard, on a monitor, in a drawer, in a file. The best thing you can do is purchase something that's called a password manager. Now, there are a slew of password managers out there that you can choose from. I'm not going to name any here today. Just go on Google and type in password manager. But this is a little tool that will help you not only create secure passwords that aren't any words or anything that can be tied back to you, but they also allow you to manage your passwords, use unique passwords, and share passwords with your friends if they're also using that same system, or they're part of your ecosystem or your account. So highly recommend looking into a password manager, and don't do silly things like writing them down, sending them over email, or sending them in a text. Bad ideas. Make a firm password policy. This is more for companies, but you want to make a firm password policy for your organization or yourself. Don't use things that can be tied back to you. Don't use anything like your favorite sports teams, your college you went to, your kids' names or initials, any birth dates that can be tied back to you, or somebody can start doing some reconnaissance on social media to figure out maybe some passwords that you use. Make sure these passwords are unique, they're long, they aren't a word, they're a phrase or a random string of characters and numbers. Again, don't formulate or iterate passwords, meaning don't try to use like your favorite sports team mixed with your college, because hackers are getting smarter. They're using tools like LinkedIn to look at your profile and figure out who you're connected to and where you might have went to school. And if you're using these things as your passwords, there's a very good chance that a good cyber criminal can figure these out. Use a unique password every single time. You should not be using the same password over and over on multiple websites. That is insane. This is the number one way that hackers hack you. Like I said, a website will get hacked, and then that password that you used across multiple websites for the last 10 years, they now have that. And then now they can take that, they can try to log into your bank account, they can try to log into, your health records, your email. You don't want them being able to access your sensitive accounts because you signed up for some random website and it made you set a password and you use your favorite password to do so. Again, don't share your passwords with anybody. People, relationships go sour, things can be sold. There's a market for selling passwords. If somebody asks you for your password, question it. And don't be sharing your passwords around and thinking like, oh, I'm going to just email you my password to my best friend. Your best friend's email account can get hacked, and now a hacker has your password. You think you're sending it to a trusted person, but remember, they can get compromised too. And anything that you send them, now that hacker can see. And if you send your friend and your password to something, and then they just store it in their inbox, they never delete that email, and then one day their email gets hacked, and somebody's in there reading their email and they see that you sent the password. That's how this stuff goes down. And if you think that this is like crazy talk, it's not. This is how hackers get passwords. Make sure you're using multi-factor authentication. It's 2021. Multi-factor authentication is huge. I recommend using one that makes you look at an app and not send you a text message or an email. Those can be circumvented these days. Use an app like Google Authenticator. There's tons of them out there that you can use. Pick your favorite one. But basically what it is when you log into any website, you're going to be challenged with a code, usually 6 digits, that changes every minute. You will put that code in, and that's your kind of like your second password or the second verification. That's why they call it two-factor or multi-factor, that it's really you logging into the system. And then make sure at the very least that your email, your financial, your health accounts all have different and unique passwords or passphrases. Don't use the same password for your banking and health and email that you use for Facebook and LinkedIn and all these other sites that you might randomly sign up for. It's a bad idea. They're probably going to get hacked. So make sure you're not doing that. Make sure your password is as long as the system will allow. Some sites will let you make a password like 20 some characters. Do it. The more characters, the harder it is for these hackers to crack your password. The longer it is, the harder it is for the software that they use to guess your password. If you only have a password that's 6 or 8 characters, that's infinitely easier to crack than one that's 20 some characters or even 14 characters. So try to make them as long as you can. If you use a password manager, you can make them as long as you want and as random as you want. And here's my big one for you, and the last one I'm going to leave you with today. Don't allow password hints. Okay, so these are the things that come up when you create an account and they say, make a password hint. Even when you start up Windows for the first time, it asks you to set these kind of password hints. Here's my recommendation to you. Make these questions something that you're kind of making up. So like if it's name of the street you live on or the street you grew up on, don't really use the street you grew up on because people can figure that out. Make up some random street, like Wisteria Lane. You never lived there. Nobody knows you would have picked that. So make up a street that nobody would guess and only you know. And do that for every single password hint question that you do. It's too easy these days for hackers to go on social media, to do background lookups on individuals and start to figure out what maybe they're using for passwords and password hints. So use fake stuff. Try to, make it really hard for these hackers to figure out what your password is. And if you do these things, you will be infinitely more secure. And that's what you need to know for World Password Day 2021. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, drop any comments below. I'll answer them later on when I'm on Facebook or other social media. Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.